ActiveCampaign is the marketing automation platform built for big swings and big dreams. With intelligent suggestions, powered by AI and your data. Generate ideas in seconds, import your brand, and create full campaigns with simple prompts. Send personalized messages backed by real-time feedback, smart segmentation, and effortless reporting that tracks every win. Let's redefine what's possible together. Get started for free at activecampaign.com.
Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
I can't stop scratching my downtown. Yeah, but I'm not itching to go downtown and tell a receptionist I'm here to talk about my downtown. Some things you'd rather type than say out loud.
There's no question too embarrassing for Amazon Health AI. Chat your symptoms and get virtual care 24/7. Healthcare just got less painful.
Seven things you don't really need to know, but probably should. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Sunday 7.
I'm Kira Revens in for Jamie East this week, and on today's episode of the award-winning Sunday 7, we catch up on the latest developments in AI, find out what's kicked off a row at the Chelsea Flower Show, and learn why your kitchen worktop could be a killer. Plus, Will Guyatt, the Smart 7's resident tech guru, catches up on the OpenAI lawsuit and tells us why we're asking chatbots for medical advice. If you're enjoying our episodes, please do like and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. We're here 7 days a week at 7 a.m. with the 7 biggest stories on the Smart 7 in association with Metro. Before we get started, though, it was on this day in 1943 that the RAF 615 Squadron dropped the famous bouncing bombs on 2 dams in the industrial area of the Ruhr Valley in Germany. The bombs were invented by Dr. Barnes Wallace, and the intention in destroying the dams was to destroy enemy war factories and slow German war efforts in World War II. The dam busters proved to be a key moment in the war, and the story was later immortalised in the movie of the same name. Wallace said he had based the idea on the principle of skipping stones on a pond. A new study this week from business consultants Ernst & Young suggests that businesses are accelerating their investment in AI. The research, which gathered information from 1,200 CEOs across 21 countries, says 80% of executives are increasing their spend on AI this year, while almost half are looking at acquiring companies to help them speed up the process. In a world where there is huge uncertainty and an ongoing conflict in the Middle East, which is driving a spike in energy prices, AI appears to be seen as a potential answer to the search for improved profits. The technology continues to develop at speed, and when AI is used to power robotics, we've seen giant leaps forward in the possibilities of automation and the handing over of basic tasks to tech. We've heard before in the Sunday 7 about the Andon Labs, who empowered an AI to open a shop in San Francisco, and they've expanded their reach, this time letting the AI called Mona open a coffee shop in Sweden. Hanna Peterson is a member of the Andon Labs technical staff, and she describes just how much freedom they've given Mona to see what happens next.
She hired the baristas, so she figured out that someone needs to make the coffee. So she posted job listings, Indeed and LinkedIn, and held phone interviews, and then made hiring decisions. It's an experiment. We think that AI will be a big part of the society and the job market in the future, and we want to test that before that's the reality. Andon Lab's intention is to see how exactly AI deals with real-world situations, and each mistake or misstep is a valuable data point. Kajetan Grzelczak is one of the baristas at the cafe, and it sounds like he's quite enjoying having an AI boss.
Mona is surprisingly a good boss. She is communicative, and I have a lot of freedom to voice my opinions, add my own things to the menu and such. When we compare it to the other cafes I worked at, it's just much nicer. It's better.
It's the combination of AI and robotics that has the most significant potential real-world impact. We've already seen a Japanese airport deploy robot baggage handlers, and now a London research lab says it's made big progress in the training process for robots. Artem Sokolov is the founder and CEO of the startup Humanoid, and he says it's the combination of tech and AI that could be transformative.
Our advantage is that we build a full stack from hardware to AI models and also integration application layer. We build our own proprietary VLA model, vision language action model, that help robots do different tasks in real world with human speed.
Chief Technology Officer at Humanoid, Jared Cannon, says the artificial brain they've created has seen the robot's learning ability dramatically accelerate.
So the AI systems are the most important aspect here. You could have designed similar hardware to this even a decade ago, but what's been missing are the brains and the control algorithms. If you can demonstrate to the robot how to perform this task yourself, then the robot can learn how to perform that task. This is basically the big unlock that makes this a commercially viable system.
And while the robots are learning human tasks, Google's DeepMind labs have been busy working on ways to use AI to help speed up other human jobs like computer-based tasks. They've created an AI agent which can take input from voice, from text, and even from the pointer on your mouse to speed up your work processes. Adrien Baranes is the user experience research engineer at Google, and he explains the thinking behind the new innovation.
The mouse pointer is something that has been forgotten. What if behind the pointer there was an AI model like Gemini trying to interpret whatever we're saying like another person would? The way we actually made this work in our initial prototype was by saying keywords like this, that, here, or there. We can really have the pointer dig through all of the layers of data. We can have voice, we can have text, we can have image understanding, and then have Gemini write code to satisfy the user intent whenever they're moving their pointer across different apps. It's really magical what you can do when we mix voice and pointing and visual understanding at the same time.
This week has seen America's tech guru hit the road with US President Donald Trump visiting China as part of a state visit. But even with the bosses out of town, there's plenty to talk about with the Smart 7's tech guru, Will Guyatt. So, well, if you were offered a seat on Air Force One but had to sit beside Donald Trump for 17 hours, would you take it?
If you told me you were going to give me the right snacks and I was able to tell him exactly what I thought of him, I might well consider it.
Tell us who was on Air Force One this week and why.
It was essentially a flying boardroom. Trump flew to Beijing for this state visit with President Xi and brought a delegation of around 20 corporate bosses with him. On the tech side, he had Apple's Tim Cook, Tesla's Elon Musk, and Nvidia's Jensen Huang. And he was particularly important because he's the man whose chips power almost all of the world's AI. There were bosses there from Boeing, from Meta, and the big Wall Street banks too. Now, Trump wants China to buy more American planes, more computer chips, and more food. And all of the CEOs on this plane rely on China either as a factory or as a customer. So they were all pretty happy to be on Air Donny.
Elon Musk seemed to be enjoying the road trip, but the court case over OpenAI saw closing arguments this week. What have we learnt?
Well, if you've not been keeping up with this, it's essentially a trial over what OpenAI was supposed to be. Elon Musk helped co-found it back in 2015 as a non-profit and put in around $38 million US. He's now arguing that Sam Altman and the team quietly turned it into a money-making machine behind his back, betraying the original charitable mission. Now, OpenAI's response so far has essentially been Musk's donations had no strings attached, the mission is still intact, and he only started complaining when OpenAI raced ahead of his own AI company.
It doesn't seem like either Elon or Sam came out of this whole thing particularly well.
No, not really. Musk's lawyer pointed out that the 5 witnesses who worked closely with Altman over the years, including OpenAI's former chief scientist and chief technology officer, described him under oath as a liar, and that's brutal. But Musk hasn't escaped cleanly either. He says he isn't after personal damages, but the judges yelled at his lawyer for telling the jury that because there's still essentially money on the table. These are two of the most powerful men in tech, and the kindest reading of this trial is that neither of them will be on my Christmas card list, and I'm not sure who's trying to screw who.
Away from court battles, AI continues to generate interesting news stories. We heard about some earlier, but tell us about Gossip Goblin.
Gossip Goblin is the online alias of an artist called Zach London. He's a former student who's quietly become one of the most watched AI filmmakers in the world. He makes these short, gritty sci-fi films set in cyberpunk worlds, and they're full of half-flesh, half-robot characters. Now, the twist is he doesn't shoot any of this at all. He's generating all of these with AI tools like Midjourney and Google's ridiculously named but very capable Nano Banana. He then layers in real human voices and original sound effects and a musical score. And so far, in the last year or so, he's racked up over 500 million views. He's been called the George Lucas of AI, but I've not seen his Jar Jar Binks yet.
Is this the future of movies, or is it just another creative outlet like Vine was back in the day?
I hate to be a cop-out, but it's probably somewhere in between. Now, the numbers are real. He seems to have millions of fans now. The single clips hitting 7 million views. He's really making money, and he reckons it only costs him around $10,000 per finished hour, a number Hollywood or Jamie East probably wouldn't even get out of bed for. But others are calling his work AI slop, but this is way better than most of the AI-generated rubbish I've seen. The other night, I saw a cat replacing Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon 2. What's that all about?
And we saw new research this week that suggests the use of chatbots is becoming increasingly prevalent in people's lives. They're replacing actual doctors.
GPs haven't quite been replaced yet, but if this research doesn't wake you up, nothing will. A US university study from Stanford found that ChatGPT working alone now actually outperforms doctors on complex clinical decisions. But doctors only armed with traditional Google did worse than the AI on its own. I'm not entirely clear what to say here, because I don't want to suggest that we all dump our doctors for ChatGPT, but at the same time, if you've been relying on Dr. Google, it seems that the AI chatbots might actually be a better bet in helping to diagnose your issues. And I don't even know why we're in this situation, but in the same week, a GP surgery in my local town told patients they now had to wait 7 weeks for a non-urgent appointment. And with stuff like this happening all across the UK, you kind of understand why people are resorting to different methods like looking at AI for medical diagnosis and advice.
And Cosmopolitan suggested this week that people are not just asking chatbots for advice, they're actually chatting them up.
Maybe I'm in a different generation, but around 1 in 5 American adults has now used a chatbot to simulate a romantic partner, and surveys suggest as many as 1 in 4 people have flirted with a chatbot, sometimes even without realising. Late last year, a Japanese woman even held a wedding to an AI character on her phone, but researchers are split. Some say that chatbots help lonely people practice flirting in a safe space. Others warn that an always available, always agreeable digital partner could make real human relationships feel like too much hard work. I can tell you one thing for certain though, I'm definitely not going to the wedding if a mate of mine marries a chatbot.
Still to come on the Sunday 7 in association with Metro, we dig into some alien mysteries and find out why your kitchen worktop could be deadly. Aliens are a hot topic once again, partly as NASA heads back to the moon, but also because this week the Pentagon released another batch of files detailing encounters with UFOs, or what are known as UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena. The new batch of about 170 files previously classified date back to the 1940s in some cases, but they haven't really shed a lot of light on whether or not aliens do exist and whether or not they've popped down to Earth to see us. The Department of War says that there will be more files released, and we've had commentary from Jared Isaacman, NASA administrator, who says that the chances of alien life existing are high, but the chances of them visiting Earth are incredibly low. Neil DeGrasse Tyson is an astrophysicist, a former director of the Hayden planetarium, and a science communicator. He's just written a new book on aliens with a slightly tongue-in-cheek title, Take Me to Your Leader. And he spoke to CBS this week about aliens and why he really just wants to see some hard evidence.
Remember, we had, 3 years worth of people from deep within government, not only security agencies, but the military, testifying as whistleblowers or as in whatever other capacity, under oath, telling us basically everything we're reading in these files now, that they've been seen, things we don't understand, and some might be in a locked shed. So I'm kind of saying, all right, it's a little bit anticlimactic. Why don't you just bring out the alien?
Former President Barack Obama also spoke on the topic recently with Stephen Colbert, and he says that if the US government had found aliens, we'd know because somebody somewhere would have leaked it. Stahl is the author and astronomist, and he's been doing some deep diving into the Pentagon files, looking at the photos from astronauts in particular.
There are these really cool snapshots of what it's like to be an astronaut, exploring new things for the first time, and then to see things that they at first couldn't explain. These files released by the Pentagon do not give any solid evidence for life beyond Earth, for alien life in general. But that doesn't mean we aren't continuing the investigation, the search for life.
You might have spent some time of your weekend browsing through a giant DIY store looking at kitchens or bathrooms, but it turns out there's a killer in your kitchen and it's causing real problems, particularly for those involved in the manufacture of worktops. The process of cutting quartz for kitchen worktops releases a form of dust called respirable crystalline silica, or RCS, and it can cause a deadly lung disease called scoliosis. The UK's Health and Safety Executive announced new guidelines this week to try and prevent further damage to workers, with more than 50 cases reported and at least 4 deaths from the irreversible lung disease. Fenton is a former stonemason, and he says that as soon as his company started cutting quartz worktops, he knew something was different and is now coping with a diagnosis of scoliosis.
Dust is a lot finer. It has a smell to it, a taste to it. Should you get it in your throat, it's different. It is different. 3 years ago, I had a stroke. I ended up in hospital. They run a load of testing before they were going to send me home, and part of it flagged up that I had some shadowing on my chest, and that's when I was diagnosed with silicosis. Even though I'd been doing masonry for more years than I can remember, I'd never heard of it. They didn't hold back. They literally told me that it could potentially kill you. When I saw it in black and white, they wrote to me, and that's when it hit home.
Goodwin is another former stonemason also suffering from silicosis, and with no treatment for the condition, he feels like he's living on borrowed time. He says governments should have moved much more quickly to ban the product.
It's already taken the lives of some young men, and it will continue to take more and more lives. Sadly, all of these lives could have been saved by banning this product earlier. This is a dangerous product that should be banned in every country on the planet.
Dr. Joanna Fury is a senior clinical research fellow at Imperial College London, specialising in occupational health risks, and she identified in 2024 that silicosis caused by the quartz worktops was becoming a real problem for UK workers.
We have watched the problem unfold around the globe, and so we've known that it may well arrive in the UK, and we're seeing a high number of cases of accelerated disease, which means that it's happening after a very few years of working with the product, and it means it's affecting a young workforce, so people in their 20s, 30s and 40s. This is a huge worry because these are young people developing what is essentially a preventable disease.
Ian Lavery MP is the chair of an all-parliamentary group on occupational safety, and he says that it's time for a debate in the Commons on the subject of a ban on the material.
If we don't get a grip of this condition, we'll see another national scandal like we saw in asbestos. But I'm going to be very persistent until we get this onto the floor of the House of Commons. The eventual outcome could mean looking at an outright ban. But again, the most important thing is we need to effect measures that are going to prevent ordinary young people and their families suffering this awful condition.
Still to come on the Sunday 7 in association with Metro. Good news for patients suffering with ME and AI gardens.
Right after this.
If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Marketers, you know that feeling when your creative clicks? When that social post sends engagement through the roof? When your outside-of-the-box campaign hits ROI positive? When a personalized homepage turns prospects into customers? It's utter marketing bliss. Contentful helps you create tailored omni-channel experiences without working overtime. No stress, no limits, only possibilities. Get the feels at Contentful.com.
Welcome back.
There was good news this week for patients suffering with ME, which is also known as CFS, or chronic fatigue syndrome. The government has announced an investment of almost £5 million to carry out a detailed research study into the condition, which affects almost 400,000 people across the UK. ME causes extreme fatigue, difficulty sleeping, and it can also cause cognitive impairment, with about 25% of those affected left unable to work and effectively housebound. There's little medical understanding of the cause of the condition, which, when it was initially discovered, was referred to as yuppie flu. A new genomic study will build a high-resolution map of the condition and hopefully help to lead researchers towards a diagnostic test and hopefully effective treatment. Dr. Audrey Ryback is a research fellow at the University of Edinburgh, and she says the research is crucially important.
ME/CFS is 15 to 20 years behind most diseases in terms of research, and this new study is such a welcome breath of fresh air in trying to really make some big progress.
Sonia Chowdhury is the Chief Executive of ME Campaign Group Action for ME, and she says while it's good news, it needs to be just the start of the government's investment in the condition.
It's nowhere near enough. This has to be the start. We need to have significant investment if we're going to bring ME research onto a par with other illness areas.
The Chelsea Flower Show might be the last place you'd expect a row to kick off over artificial intelligence, but that's exactly what's happened this week. In advance of next week's event at the Royal Hospital Gardens in Chelsea, the Society of Garden and Landscape Designers has written to its entire membership warning of the dangers posed to garden designers by the rise of AI. And an award-winning designer, Matt Keatley, is at the centre of the controversy. He's picked up 2 medalists in the Chelsea show, and he's built a new garden design app called Spacelift, which is just about to launch. We caught up with Matt and asked him what exactly the Spacelift app is intended to do.
Spacelift is a new garden design app that we're launching at Chelsea Flower Show. And the idea behind it is we are looking to target a market of people that are enthusiastic, keen to develop their gardens, transform their outside spaces, but don't really know where to start. And so the app takes you on a series of very simple steps to get you there from beginning to end. So map or scan your space, select your style, go through a series of preferences. We'll then link you to tradespeople locally and help you shop the look. So you go all the way from choosing or drawing on inspiration, delivering the garden in reality, and then we'll help you manage and maintain that moving forwards.
Does the increasing presence of AI in creative spaces worry you?
I wasn't worried about the use of AI because there's no turning back. AI is here. I'm more comfortable knowing that we've controlled our app based on my design experience, my design knowledge. I understand that people might feel threatened and nobody really likes change as it is, but this is very much working with it. It's being assisted by AI, but based on expert advice. That's the difference. There's no intention of taking over people in design studios. And I think if people are open to working with it, it can be a super effective tool.
Do you think AI design compares to the work of real-life designers? We know AI can suffer hallucinations and so on.
Within Spacelift, yes, I have to say yes, because it's my design thinking. It's the way I would consider a space, both in terms of scale and proportion and how the planting's layered up. Can or will AI take over humans? In garden design, it can't. It won't ever do that. Garden design's an art form. So the general public just tapping in questions to chat is not going to give you anything that compares to dealing with a human.
What do you think the future is for the gardens then?
I think the future of gardens and garden design is super exciting because of AI. The likes of Spacelift are going to create a new marketplace, not just help and assist the existing one, but make design studio level information available to a much broader market and people that might not have been in a position to approach a designer or design studio will get access to a really good quality of information that will help them implement that design. So I would like to think that as a result of Spacelift, we'll see thousands more gardens being created across the country and eventually across the globe.
Recently on the Sunday 7, we heard about how Colombia is struggling with an explosion in the population of wild hippos. It's an unusual problem, particularly as the hippo is not native to Colombia. In fact, the hippos were originally owned by legendary drug cartel boss Pablo Escobar. It turns out that the incredibly wealthy have had a bad habit of messing with nature, and this week sees a story from Armenia where an oligarch's wild bear collection had to be rescued. The bears were kept by Armenian oligarchs as a status symbol, but were in poor health when they were finally rescued last year. They've now been relocated to a wildlife refuge. And Tovanar Hova-Hanesian, the conservation manager of the wildlife preserve, says she was shocked at how many bears were being kept as pets.
We noticed that more than 50 bears were kept in captivity in different places, hotels, gas stations, private premises. The area's miserable conditions without proper food, without proper conditions, and no proper care, no veterinary check, anything. In some cases, like gas stations, they had no light inside. Nobody cleaned there ever. They were fed with cookies, Coca-Cola and sweet stuff.
Nareen Pilion is a bear keeper at the facility, and she says the process of getting the rescue bears back to health is a complex one.
First, we're trying to solve their physical problems with different specialists, and after it, we're trying to solve their psychological problems. Because when they keep them in small cages with a long period, they can have different psychological problems.
This has been the Sunday 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. with the regular Smart 7. Have a great rest of your weekend. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.
AI is transforming customer service. It's real and it works. And with Fin, we've built the #1 AI agent for customer service. We're seeing lots of cases where it's solving up to 90% of real queries for real businesses. This includes the real-world complex stuff like issuing a refund or cancelling an order. And we also see it when Fin goes up against competitors. It's top of all the performance benchmarks, top of the G2 leaderboard, and if you're not happy, we'll refund you up to $1 million, which I think says it all. Check it out for yourself at fin.ai.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.